Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the season opening edition of the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Hard to believe, isn't it? 2013-2014 season is upon us, and September here, that means that all Lincoln Memorial University fall athletic teams are getting ready to get cranked up. And in fact, we've got a lot to talk about tonight in terms of Lady Railsplitter soccer, LMU men's and women's cross country, Lady Railsplitter volleyball, and of course men's soccer, all of which will be in action this weekend, along with the Lincoln Memorial University men's and women's golf teams who will be competing over in Sevierville, Tennessee. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. We've got a guest later on tonight on the show. Scott Erlin joins us from the Lincoln Memorial University Sports Information Department. It's a busy time down there right now at this time of year as well, and he's going to be talking about some of the things going on down there in athletics and some of the things going on in terms of sports-related issues maybe next week and this weekend. It's all coming up next. Stay with us on the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Welcome back to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. As we told you, a lot of LMU athletic teams getting cranked up this weekend, but it will start with cross country. And this weekend, the Lincoln Memorial University men's and women's cross country teams open the 2013 schedule when they travel north up I-75 to Cincinnati, Ohio for the Queen City Invitational. This season, both LMU cross country teams will be rebuilding after the loss of runners from both programs a year ago. And as head coach Jeremy Donahue explains, the Lady Railsplitters may have possibly been hit the hardest of the two teams, but contrary to those losses, the team still has some promising new talent.
Oh yeah, we had a strong season last year, strong team, senior-laden team last year. Left a little bit out there on the course, I think, and not quite what we wanted, but like I say, one of the most successful of the last few years. So we're looking to build here, and like you mentioned, it's going to be difficult for us to do because we lose two strong runners in Sophia and Amber that were leading the team for several years. So we have to pick it up with a young crew here, and I think we got some promising pieces showing early on, and so hopefully we find leadership as we go through the season.
For the Lady Railsplitters, this weekend's Queen City Invitational will be a good benchmark for Donahue and his squad to see how they stand against quality competition and several programs that they'll face in other meets this year. The event will feature a wide variety of schools from all divisions, and Donahue believes that the meet will be good for his young team.
Yeah, we'll just stay the course here. We're not getting too excited early on with our training, and trying to just have a good, steady early season meet. We're not going to expect to blaze the course right off the bat. We're just going to get out there, see where we're at. Going to be good competition, some good D1 teams that we're going to be running against, but then also some teams we see in Cedarville, D2 team that's a strong top D2 team in the nation, and some Georgetown teams in Kentucky and Lindsey Wilson that we usually compete against. So we'll get a good idea of how we stack against them before we head into the next meet, which will be more competition focused.
Leading the way for the Lady Railsplitters this weekend will be preseason All-South Atlantic Conference second-team selection Tia Belter. Last year as a freshman, Belter was named to the All-South Atlantic Conference freshman team while tallying 3 top 20 performances, highlighted by a 17th place finish at the Food Lion South Atlantic Conference Championship. Belter ran the 5K event in a time of 20:54.2. The Lady Railsplitters have been picked to finish 6th place among this year's field of South Atlantic Conference women's teams. And the Lincoln Memorial University men will also get down to business this weekend, but will be without the services of All-Star Shane Kurtzinger from a year ago. A strong supporting cast led by senior All-Conference first team and All-Region performer Bradley Maldonado, returning South Atlantic Conference freshman team member and now sophomore Ryan Mecca, and up-and-coming runners Brandon Ward and Stephen Thompson. The Railsplitters have been picked by the coaches throughout the conference again to press the top teams in the league for 4th place. And that's in the preseason coaches poll.
Well, the men's team last year, I think, really surprised with what we accomplished with a 4th place finish in the conference and then a 10th place finish in the region. And so with much of that team returning, like he alluded to, we're pretty excited. Shane Kurtzinger is a tough loss for us, one that we can count on every race last year. So we'll look for somebody to step up and replace him. But Ryan Mecca, Bradley Maldonado, and Brandon Ward will lead us at the front and compete for some all-conference spots, I think, and place very high in the races, and they're looking in good form right now. And then Stephen Thompson is another one returning top 5 who I think is going to take a big step forward with a year of training under his belt that he didn't have last year. He came in as a walk-on, didn't have a lot of training, so I think he'll take a big step forward for us this year.
While this weekend's Queen City Invitational will be somewhat of a shorter race than what the Railsplitters will run the remainder of the season, Donahue believes that combined with their preseason training, it will be just what his team needs to ease into this year's schedule and to allow each of his runners to get settled in to the type of race that each needs to run in order for LMU to be successful.
Well, same as the women, we're just gonna stay the course with the training and not get too carried away. Head into that first meet, which will be a 5K for the guys, so a little shorter than what they'll do most of the season, but a good early season meet with competition. And the 5K distance, I think, allows them to ease into the cross country season, not forced to perform at that 8K distance off the bat. So I look for strong performances up front from them and tight pack running up front.
Last season, Donahue and the Railsplitters placed fourth at the South Atlantic Conference Championship meet and will be looking to build off of that finish again this season. Since taking over the program following his collegiate career here at Lincoln Memorial, Donahue's teams have made steady progress in becoming one of the top half of the teams in the South Atlantic Conference. Turning to volleyball, of course, this past week, the Lincoln Memorial University volleyball team took its final step in preparing for the 2013 season with an intra-squad scrimmage on Wednesday night. And we talked with Jenny Michael about her season opening weekend down at the Armstrong Atlantic State University Classic. On Wednesday evening, the Lincoln Memorial University volleyball team took its final step before departing for Savannah, Georgia and the 2013 Armstrong Atlantic State University Classic by playing an intra-squad scrimmage in front of the home crowd in the Mary E. Mars Gymnasium. With 7 returning players from last season's NCAA Southeast Region participant team and 7 newcomers, most of which are freshmen, the Lady Railsplitters still have a lot of questions to be answered before they can realistically be considered a candidate for the national tournament again this season. But as head coach Jenny Michael explains, although her team has a lot to learn, she likes their youth and energy.
Well, I've been saying kind of all along, and it's definitely been true, we are young and dumb. And the part that I enjoy about that is that we are young, we are youthful, we have a lot of energy and excitement that we bring day in and day out. At the same time, we've been making a lot of mistakes, and we are definitely working hard to try to be more efficient in what we're doing.
Heavily this season will be senior right side hitter Caitlin Walton. Last year as a junior, Walton was considered a role player, but this season not only will she carry a lot of the offensive load, Walton will be looked at as a leader both on and off the floor for a team that is comprised of primarily underclassmen.
I don't feel any added pressure. I know that we have young girls coming in, and it's my job to be as solid as I can and to be consistent and to provide something constant for them so that they don't have to be worrying about what I'm doing or what anybody else is doing, and they can just focus on coming in and doing what coach asks of them and just having it be as smooth of a transition for them into our program as possible.
Although the LMU women return starters Allison Beavers, Casey Metzi, and Jazzy Oates, not only will Walton have to step up her game, but Coach Michael believes her freshman class will be baptized in trial-by-fire conditions, and despite their collegiate inexperience, youth cannot be accepted as a factor, and her underclassmen will be looked at to make a quick adjustment.
One of the things that we actually spoke about yesterday was not allowing how many new players we have and not allowing, our quote-unquote youth to be an excuse. So, while people on the outside may look and, they may say, oh, coach, you've got a bunch of new players, a bunch of young players, we're not allowing that to be an excuse anymore. We are who we are, and whether, like I said before, whether we've been here for 4 years or 4 days, we have to come together and minimize the errors and play as a team.
One newcomer that is expected to see a great deal of playing time is freshman right side hitter Brooke Fleeman. A 5'10" product of Nashville, Tennessee's Nashville Christian High School, Fleeman was one of 7 freshmen signed by Michael during the offseason. In talking with Fleeman about the anticipation of her first collegiate game on Friday against Shorter, she feels that Coach Michael has done a good job preparing the team, and she's ready for the challenge.
I definitely feel that I'm ready. Coach Michael has been awesome this whole week, just preparing us. She always tells it like it is. She's, tells us it's going to be tough and that we're going to have to work for it. So I feel mentally prepared for this game, and I'm excited.
The Lady Railsplitters open the weekend's competition with Shorter University, but will soon face off against one of the best the NCAA Southeast region has to offer when they take on host Armstrong Atlantic State University Friday evening. One player that's looking forward to starting the season off with one of the best is sophomore Casey Metzi.
I think it'll be better to go into something where it's really going to push us than to go into competition that maybe not push us as much, so we're really excited about it.
This weekend's matches are the first 4 of a 30-match regular season schedule, and in talking with Coach Michael about this weekend and the keys to success for 2013, she believes that in addition to ball control, one of the main keys will be how the role players from a year ago step up and how quickly they can produce on a consistent basis.
Well, definitely with losing Blair in the middle, our returning middle is Jazzy Oates, and we look for her to step in and have some similar success. And then with Caitlin Walton being a senior, she's already been doing some great things in her career, and we look forward to what she can do this season as well.
Again, the Lady Railsplitters open the season Friday at the Armstrong Atlantic State University Classic. They'll take on Shorter University in the opening round of that Classic. They'll close the first day's competition out against the host team, Pirates of Armstrong Atlantic State University. That'll be a 7 o'clock first serve for that match. Turning to men's and women's golf, the Lincoln Memorial University golf teams will be in fall play this weekend. And earlier this week, we talked with LMU's Travis Muncy about the 2 golf teams and about what they've been doing over the first few weeks of school here during fall semester. With fall semester now in full swing, Travis Muncy and the Lincoln Memorial University golf teams have been taking advantage of being back on campus and having the use of the LMU golf practice facility to prepare for several fall outings they have on the schedule and for the upcoming 2014 spring season. On Tuesday afternoon, I had the opportunity to sit down and talk with Muncy about this year's teams and what both squads have been doing to prepare for this year's competition. In talking with Muncy, he was very excited about the men's program and the fact that they'll interplay this year as the defending South Atlantic Conference tournament champion.
Well, we've been our 3rd week back. We're getting really getting in the heart of swing of things. Right, the first week of school is sort of NCAA, can't really do much after that first week of classes. And the second week we started playing and qualifying and really positioning ourselves and see who's going to make the traveling squad with the team. And qualifying's going real well with both teams. The men are showing really strong scores out right now, which is led again by Connor Froning, which was the SAC champion last year. And we've got some new faces to the lineup this year. We're a young team. We got a couple of transfers and some freshmen who come in and are going to make some real impact players for the fall season.
Following the 2013 spring season, the Lady Railsplitter golf team lost 4 players to graduation, thus putting the program through an overhaul in terms of the team's depth and lineup. But as Muncy explains, many of the returners and this year's newcomers have been playing well prior to reporting for fall semester classes, and he's extremely optimistic about the Lady Railsplitters' potential with such a young but talented team.
We did lose 4 seniors last year, which were the veterans and the heart of the team, but we've got some girls stepping into qualifying and playing right now that, Danielle Burrell, sophomore from England, she stepped in and she played really solid this fall coming in these last 2 weeks. Lindsay Davis, she'll be a junior, and she's, I think, going to lead us and step in there. She's been a starter since her freshman year, and I think she's really going to come in. And Lindy McGuire has played astounding this fall so far. And then we'll have a few freshmen, making the lineup for this upcoming tournament.
With the women being such a young team this year and the leadership from a year ago now gone, I asked Muncy what he felt would be the keys to success for his Lady Railsplitters, and his response was the great chemistry that this year's LMU women's golf team possesses.
Even though we are an individual sport, there is a team aspect to it, and both teams have wonderful dynamics, get along, family, especially with the girls. It's a whole new chemistry among the girls, and it's a great chemistry, and I think they're going to play well together and click, and I think it's going to be a good year for both teams.
This season, the Railsplitters have an enormous roster with nearly 25 players to choose from, so internal competition should be at a premium. And while whittling down the pool into a travel squad and ultimately the men's strongest lineup may be the issue for Muncy, handling the pressure of being the defending South Atlantic Conference tournament champions will be the issue for the Railsplitters.
It's all going to come down to consistency, playing a consistent game and getting 4 guys, 4 scores counting. You always have 3 guys play good, but it always comes down to that 4th and 5th score. And, that's just going to be the key to our success, is finding the right guys in that 4 and 5 slot that are going to produce and shoot the scores we need to be competitive.
This weekend, both LMU golf teams head over to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, where they'll compete in the Smoky Mountain Intercollegiate that will be held at Sevierville Golf Club. The event is the first of the year and the first of 4 matches on the fall schedule. As we said, that is the first of 4 matches on the fall schedule. But that is about as close to home as the Railsplitters will play this year, with the exception of their one event that will be played locally here at either Woodlake or Wasiota Winds Golf Course. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we've got more here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Not to be outdone, the LMU men's soccer team also gets started today. The first team to get the 2013 season underway this year will be the Lincoln Memorial University men's soccer team. On Wednesday afternoon, the Railsplitters departed for Montevallo, Alabama, but not to play familiar opponent University of Montevallo. On Thursday afternoon, the Railsplitters opened the season with Peach Belt Conference member Eckerd College. And last season, the Railsplitters ended the year with a 13-4-1 overall record while making their best run at a South Atlantic Conference tournament title since winning the league and advancing to the NCAA Division II National Championship in 2007. Despite losing 13 players from last year's team, the Railsplitters returned 8 starters from a year ago, and head coach Helio Dana believes that this year's team may have an even higher ceiling than the 2012 Railsplitters.
You said, a lot of the returners are back, so that makes it a little easier. Although everybody will have a shot to be a starter, you start afresh on any given season. It's a mixture of a little bit of youth because some will be freshmen, a little bit of more experience because some will be transfers, and really a good balance, I think. We've already had enough to be able to tell that they are stepping right in and it will be good chemistry. My biggest concern was just the fact that it's so many new faces. I thought it was going to be a bigger of issue, but you mentioned attitude. The attitude is so great right now that it was easy to incorporate all the new faces.
One player that won't have to get acclimated to Coach Dana's system and who won't be flying under anyone's radar will be senior forward Mario Pinto. Last season, Pinto led the South Atlantic Conference in scoring with 21 goals while also finishing first in overall points with 47 and earning SAC Player of the Year, Daktronics Region Player of the Year, and Daktronics First Team All-American honors. Having received so much attention due to his offensive prowess last year, one has to think that opponents will be looking to mark Pinto this season and to limit his offensive opportunities. But as Dana explains, this season's team has more offensive weapons than last season's squad, and he's happy about that.
Yeah, because of the fact that, like you just said, everybody knows him. He's a known commodity. We knew that coming in, and we brought some kids that will kind of spread the joy, so to speak, and call attention to themselves. I'll give you an example. One of our new center forwards, George Byrne, he's really big, strong, acts like a target forward. If you think in terms of basketball, he'll be a big center that will attract the defense to collapse on him and then will allow the perimeter to go on, and Mario will be the perimeter. So I think we'll take care of a lot of the problems. And we have a couple of midfielders that came in that will be very skilled, as we always have, that will also attract attention that way as well, and it will free George, the one that I mentioned, and Mario as well. So it's a good balance.
Being the first match of the season, Dana and his coaching staff have spent the past several weeks preparing both teams for what proves to be one of the toughest schedules in recent memory. In talking with Dana, we asked him what the biggest challenge has been in getting his teams ready.
On the men's side, it almost becomes a game of managing the level of fitness and soccer fitness of each player, because some of these guys came in fit, but they didn't get to play much in the summer. Some of these guys came in fit and in soccer fitness because they play throughout the whole summer. So you got to be careful now so you don't go over the board. You got to kind of save the legs at points. So there's practices that we pull people out early and push the quote-unquote non-starters. So that's the biggest thing, just managing the trying to put everybody on the same level.
Dana and the Railsplitters got underway against Eckerd at 6 p.m. on Thursday evening on the University of Montevallo campus, and we'll have results next week here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Turning to women's action on Friday afternoon, the Lincoln Memorial University women's soccer team will host their first opponent of the year when they take on Asbury College, the Eagles, coming to town. Having lost only 4 players from last year's team that finished the year with a 7-7-2 record, for the most part, the Lady Railsplitters are still made up of predominantly freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. With only 2 seniors on this year's squad and such a young team, you might think that this year's team is still very inexperienced. But according to head coach Helio Dana, he feels that most of the players on this year's team are already battle-tested.
It's kind of funny because if you look at the roster and you just go purely by class, we're still extremely young. But the thing is, so many of these players, especially the sophomore, they've already played so much as sophomores, as in their class, that we feel that they're more mature and experienced than a regular team that would have so many underclassmen. So we are primed. It's about time to deliver. We did bring 4 players. We did bring some more talents, but it's all about the returners this year. It's about 2 things, really. The returners as far as just being in their best, because there's always this time of the year a little bit of a minor injury here and there, and goals. We need to score goals, because last year I thought we played at a high level, but we really were not getting the output that it takes for the sack to win. And that was the middle name of our between the summer and now, the preseason and now. So every kid is accountable to score goals.
One thing that has hampered the Lady Railsplitters during the preseason has been nagging injuries. When we talked with head athletic trainer Don Grigsby earlier in the week, he mentioned that many of the women's players had been visiting the athletic training room over the past couple of weeks with sport-specific type injuries that have been related to things like taking a large volume of shots from repetitive type drills. The positive side of that is so far that Grigsby and his staff have not seen any major season-ending injuries. And still, according to Dana, while the Lady Railsplitters don't have that one marquee type player, they have a number of players that have the potential to be serious offensive threats, and that that should help the Lady Railsplitters if it comes down to them needing them.
We don't really have, like, let's say in the men's, a Mario, right? We're not going to have one player that can collect 20 goals. But the good news is I can name 7 or 8 that can get me 10 goals. So that's I think, a much more versatile team, a harder to defend team, and hopefully even, we talked about the defense, even scrape some goals out of our defenders on set pieces because we're so big and strong in the air. I think we'll be okay on the output of goals this year.
In addition to scoring goals this season, in talking with Dana, we asked him what other factors would play a big role in how successful the Lady Railsplitters are, and he had this to say.
Well, because of the kind of schedule that we're playing this year, it's a lot harder than last year, probably harder than the past 2 years. It's just to play at a higher tempo and level and just everything with less touches, everything sharper, just better defense as well, but just looking into being ready for the settings of such an incredible regional schedule that we're going to play this year.
Both LMU soccer teams go to the University of Alabama Huntsville on Sunday. And again, we'll have that result and the results from this weekend's play on next week's show. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, LMU Sports Information Office Director Scott Erland is with us. Stay with us here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report. Welcome back to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. As promised, Sports Information Office and Director Scott Erland. Scott, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rusty. Happy to be here.
Scott's been here a long time today to get here and do this segment. Scott, for you guys, it's kind of like it is for us. There are no holidays, there are no weekends, and I know that the Sports Information Office has got to have been slammed lately.
Oh yeah, but it's exciting for me. This is my favorite time of the year. The summer gets kind of dull and boring. You enjoy that relaxation and that time you have away from the sports for a while, but you're ready to get back and get after it and get to work, and this is what I love, the excitement. And it's a new year, the 2013-14 year. And just what can it bring? The potential for great things.
We've only got a couple of minutes here, and so I want to give you as much time as you can tell the people about the new things on the website. Doing a lot of media type stuff, and we've got just a very short time here, just about 20 seconds.
One of the new things that we want to do this year specifically is the Game Day Central page, where it'll basically be every home event we have this season. It'll have all the links, all the information you need for that game, and it'll be posted. It'll be a special feature for the website.
Folks, to find out more, you can pull up the LMU Athletics website, www.lmurailsplitters.com. That's all the time we've got. We'll see you next week right here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.